Intellect gap becoming more and more obvious. Met my husband in college. I have bachelor's, he has master's. He is the main provider, I am some with odd jobs here and there. His intelligence is one of the things that attracted me to him. But it has become very apparent the last couple years that he is drastically outpacing me and he knows it. Whether it's because of pregnancy, just being home and stressed, or not using my mind much at work, I have fallen behind him intellectually. He works a difficult job and continues to be challenged. He doesn't outright put me down, but when it comes to decisions, ideas, suggestions, his trump more often than not. I can tell he no longer respects me or considers me his equal. I don't know what to do. At the rate we are going, I'm thinking I should just leave rather than wait for him to inevitably leave me. Even if he doesn't up and leave, which I think is the eventual outcome here, I have so little control or say in my life and household. It's dreadful. I've tried talking to him about it, he assures me I'm just imagining things. But every time I present an idea, it's ripped to shreds or just ignored entirely. What say the Reddit mass? Any ideas? Edit to explain, he is not an abusive asshole, I promise. I wouldn't put up with that. And as much as we all want to be nice and support people and believe the best in people, I would honestly say my cognitive abilities have declined. Pregnancy and having kids and taking care of said kids will do a number on your working memory, sleep schedule, and therefore problem-solving abilities. I truly have declined. It's just fact. When you brought it up before, did you provide specific examples? Or talk in generality? It may be worth bringing up specific examples to make him see how he does it. Marriage counselor? Can you get out of the house and back into work? When you take yourself out of everything, adulty, and spend your whole day with kids, it's hard. Maybe getting back into the workforce would help? I don't think education is the only thing to indicate intelligence or make you interesting. My partner has a master's. He makes 1/4 what I do. I have a bachelor's. But I've traveled all over the world and his day-to-day is interesting. Experiences make people interesting and give you something to talk about. I suspect that a lot of what you're feeling is self-inflicted from being a som. It's not for everyone. And it's hard to feel in control of your life when you aren't financially independent. Try a therapist. I hope any efforts that you make to enhance your knowledge and understanding are made for your own sake. Intellectual stimulation can make circumstances that seem mundane much more interesting. Consider developing research projects for yourself. Learning a new skill from a new field can be as easy as buying a reference text and subscribing to a periodical. Read to learn something new in the morning when you wake and reflect on it in the evening before bed. It may help you regain your sense of purpose in your daily activities, and offer something new and exciting to discuss with the people you care about. Additionally, it will positioning you to stay abreast of transferable skills if you ever find yourself obliged to seek fulfillment outside of your home. Your opinions and ideas are valid and should be considered for decisions in your life. First of all, your husband being more intelligent has nothing to do with that. You're not a stupid person and the problem here is not you. It seems to be that your husband does not respect you and does not listen to you or allow you to be heard. You say he rips your ideas to shreds or ignores them, and that you have no control over your life and household. This isn't a problem with you. It's a problem with him and how he is treating you. He doesn't outright put me down, but when it comes to decisions, ideas, suggestions, his trump more often than not. I can tell he no longer respects me or considers me his equal. If that is the case, then you and your husband are not compatible. I think intelligence has little to do with this situation, though. This is more about the power balance of the relationship. There is nothing wrong with you. You are still the intelligent person you were when you were married. Your husband, on the other hand, enjoys tearing you down and making you feel beneath him. It's a power play that gives him a sense of satisfaction and superiority. I have encountered his type many, many times. Please go see a counselor to sort out your feelings of inadequacy. Leaving him may be the absolute right decision, but it won't be because you're not smart enough or he has a master's. It will be because you realize that he's a manipulative jerk and you are too smart to put up with someone like that for the rest of your life. I can tell he no longer respects me or considers me his equal. Stopped reading right here. Why would you want to be with someone like this? Can you provide examples of specific times? If he was so much smarter than you, he would know how to involve you in life decisions without putting you down or making you feel dumb. He is contemptuous of you, and that doesn't have a goddamn thing to do with intelligence and everything to do with being an asshole. After reading your comments, he is not smarter than you, he is just a control freak who has to have things his way. Win at UGIO. He assures me I'm just imagining things. This is called gaslighting. Sit him down and explain that he will not be invalidating your feelings anymore. If he continues to treat you as less than, you need couples counseling or just straight up leave him. His attitude towards you isn't because he has a higher IQ. If Op and her husband only measures intelligence by how many degrees they have, then all their fancy book learnin' didn't teach them shit. I read your edit, and I'm here to say, it is abusive to refuse to make joint decisions and have discussions with your partner whether you're smarter than them or not. I've been in relationships with people where I'm definitely the intellectually superior one and I didn't lose respect for them or stop caring about their opinions. You probably should leave, but it sounds like someone has convinced you to swallow a crock of shit without having to say a word. Ridiculously stupid thing to say on a Reddit comment, but P.S. I guarantee I'm smarter than your husband, and I might be a bit of a cunt, but this is still inappropriate. You had kids too young. Why do you think he no longer respects or considers you an equal? If it's a feeling, I'd say you're your own worst enemy right now. You're anxious and stressed. Very reasonably so. Not to mention hormones might not help how you're feeling about yourself right now. If it's a feeling, talk with him. This is crazy. He doesn't put you down, he doesn't belittle you, and when you ask if he has a problem with you he says no. Honestly, if the gap is as large as you think it is, his ideas are probably better and more thought out, so you go with them more often. Start working on yourself if you want to grow intellectually. With access to the internet, there's really no excuse anymore to stop learning. This is all in your head. Listen to the other comments if you want to self-destruct your marriage. If he shreds every one of your ideas and always wants his own way, he actually is an abusive arsehole. He's not being intelligent, he's just being selfish. Apart from being tired and frazzled, I think you are losing your confidence in your ability to think because he ignores you and undermines you. No is an acceptable answer. Say no to what he wants to do and insist on your way. See what happens. You don't have to be some kind of genius to deserve to be listened to, respected and considered. Besides, he's probably nowhere near as smart as he thinks he is. I've met a few people like this and they're usually just arrogant. Marriage counseling, and individual therapy for at least you. The way you talk about yourself is honestly so sad to read. You've lost your confidence, and your husband has obviously fostered that, and continues to do so, especially with the gaslighting. Take a night class and for God's sake don't get divorced and wreck your family. Your husband says nothing is bothering him, so I don't get why you think he'd even consider leaving you. You're his wife and the mother of his children, he's not leaving. I see you're a stay-at-home mom and being tired or worn out from the children could be mentally tiring you. Do you have any hobbies or time to yourself? This is the worst thing I have ever read. Why would you do this to me? I have fallen behind him intellectually. Could you go back to school and get your master's as well? It might help you catch up with him intellect-wise. I don't think day-to-day life requires a genius to navigate through. WTF. Well, you figured the problem out, his mind gets challenged a lot more and is therefore in a better state. Only logical solution is to go and challenge yourself and become a little genius again. By the way, don't be too harsh to yourself, the kind of self-reflection and social intelligence you're showing here are far from bad. Kinda sounds like he's gaslighting you, even though you say he's not abusive, and especially so after reading your edit and additional comments. You don't even have trust in yourself anymore. I have so little control or say in my life and household. It's dreadful. Sounds more like an assertiveness problem. Doesn't matter if he's smarter, he should have the empathy and sympathy not to try to force his views on you. It can be a problem for more logical types. It is your life, and if you're running it, also your household. You don't have to take ideas to him and present them, you're putting yourself into a subservient position doing that. Just go ahead with it. It's better to ask forgiveness etc. Unless you've fully given up hope, which isn't really the tone I got here, I'd say marriage counseling is what you can and should squarely aim for in the near future. Do something that intellectually excites you. It's hard when you have kids, but if you burn for intelligence, tend to your fire. Make time for your own growth. Or it will fizzle. Your cognitive abilities shouldn't have anything to do with making basic household decisions though. Choosing curtains is not rocket science and is not based on logic but preference. Unless your ideas are unreasonable to a great extent, I don't see how him having a challenging job and a sharp mind makes him more qualified to make decisions based on preference, which should be mutual. I have no skin in this argument, but when you say your ideas are ripped to shreds, do you mean he points out flaws, downsides and then presents a better idea? Or he just nitpicks it, oh we can't drive that way because it's 5.2 miles instead of 5.1 miles. Have you tried talking to him about that? Caregiving is a team effort and your cognitive function is part of his responsibility. Why do you think these, how do I put it, issues would make you less of an equal in your relationship? You pointed out he isn't abusive, but he sounds very controlling, form of abuse. That's not right. I am in a relationship and have 2 kids, and while my memory and other things aren't great, I never feel this way at all. In other words, my partner never makes me feel that way. If he doesn't let you get a word in, suggest therapy or leaving him if he doesn't realize he has a problem. Woman shrugging, medium skin tone. This might sound silly, but I listen to documentaries about everything. I have always had to listen to something while I was working. Just start putting stuff on in the background. Also, doing puzzles is a tried and true method of helping brain power. I don't think you are losing out on the intelligence race. I think you are being too hard on yourself. You don't want to give up before you try. Little things. I relate to this feeling of decline. I would say as the children get older and you snap out of mommy mode, the brain function comes back. Have you talked to him about how you feel in regards to a decline in cognitive ability lately? It's a period in your marriage that makes it hard to feel on the same page or like you're even growing together. Take some time to address that and see what he says. The part where you say you have little control over your household is extremely concerning to me. Can you expand on that? I was a SOM until they were 3 and 6. And then I went back to work. I was a much better mother, but more importantly, I was more than a mother again. Get a part-time job, get out of the house, find some space that's just yours again. You sound like you'd like to be intellectually challenged, and that might be the crux of most of this. And there's not a damn thing wrong with that. I don't think you are in any way less intelligent now than you were before you became a SOM. The fact that you don't have a master's or higher just means only that you haven't done the work, nothing more. As for your husband shooting down your ideas, that could be him being a jerk. I say that because you seem to be feeling like you're not enough. Why is that? How does he talk to you? Is it belittling or abusive? Or is it respectful and kind? If we knew how he talks to you, we could rule abuse out. If you're still convinced you're not up to snuff intellectually, why not go back to school and get a master's? Stake your territory where you rule and stick to it. He's only a tad smarter, not all that much, and not on all things. You are swamped, my dear, which makes you hyper-focus on things immediate to you, i.e. kids and household. Does he help you with the chores? Frankly, men can think more because they have the time to do so. Those time to expand his mind is at your expense. I'd suggest you take a half day a week to just read or attend a class outside the house and let him take care of the house. Give yourself a mental break from taking care of the household because that requires multitasking abilities and high-level problem solving every day. Trust me, you are plenty competent. Try going out for a girls' weekend away and see how well he copes. Honestly, I feel like you've been manipulated into seeing this as a problem with you and not with him. Relationships aren't meant to a debate society where only the person with the best argument advances. It's meant to be a collaboration where everyone is heard and their needs are addressed. So cast off "my husband is smarter than me" and try on "my husband has less maturity and understanding of relationships than I do and he uses intellect to manipulate and gaslight me." He refuses to collaborate and invalidates all my needs. What's the problem? So let him take the reins and lead for a while. When you're rested and the baby is home and collect yourself, you'll get back on your feet. Maybe him leading the family can be seen as an act of service? Your husband is a fool. This post gives me the creeps. He will of course be sharp since he is in the mix every day. He should cherish having a woman who is managing things and his child, and that allows him to push that much harder and further. You may well be overthinking this. Sure, you could put your child in daycare and forge ahead, but is that what you want? In the interim, what are you most interested in? You can find university-level classes on virtually anything from Harvard and MIT and Hillsdale. Take some online courses. No, they are not accredited, but the knowledge is there for the taking. All the best. PSH, so what? I'm sure there's plenty of things he's an idiot with. Like remembering birthdays and shit. And knowing what your plans are that weekend, or how to plan dinners for the week. All I'm saying is you each bring something to make the relationship work. So don't be so hard on yourself. Marriage is not a debating club or an astrophysics project, luckily. Let him find his intellectual challenge somewhere else. Your relationship is so much more than that. He will be wrong occasionally, make sure he remembers when that happens. Tell him that he needs to use his big brain and figure out how to help yours grown. Depending on where you live, microdosing could be an option. Just go back to school.